Hello, and welcome to Ontology Explained. I'm Casey Hart, philosopher and ontologist, and today I'm going to talk to you about my experience at the Knowledge Graph Conference 2026. If you don't know what the KGC is, don't worry, I'll describe it in more depth later, and it's a good thing for you to know about. If you found this channel, you have at least a passing interest in artificial intelligence and ontologies and these sorts of things, and the KGC is one place that you can go to learn a lot more about that, so good resource to know about. If you're already aware of the KGC and you're on this channel, then you might be interested in my thoughts. What did I think the highlights were? What are the big takeaways? What are some of the lowlights or worries that I've got from it? But before I get there, I want to say briefly about if you're watching this channel, you may have noticed no videos have been uploaded in like the last month or so, and I apologize for that. I set a goal that I wanted to be doing like 2 videos a week, and that still is very much the goal. Combination of things sort of built up here, family stuff, having multiple jobs, and by family stuff, just running around with 3 kids takes a lot of one's time, and then that sort of snowballed. That said, I have recorded a couple of podcasts, one with Steve Stewart that I hope to release in the middle of next week. I've got this video coming out today, and the next video that I produce probably on Monday will be the talk that I gave for the Knowledge Graph Conference this year. So you'll get a chance to see what my experience and what my presentation was there about how ontologists should be making more of their own graphs for their personal data. Thanks to those of you who reached out to me and said, hey, what the heck? When's more material coming? It's coming. We're back on, and hold me to that and send me mean and annoying emails if I don't do that. I need y'all to hold me accountable here. All right. Now let's talk about the KGC. So if you don't know what that is, the KGC was started in 2019 by Thomas Deely and Francois Scharffe. The last couple of years, the conference has been held at Cornell Tech. It might actually have been there every year. This was my first year attending, so that's all I can really speak to. And it was an excellent experience. They talked a lot about, how it's changed over the past 7 years, of course, from just, being fledgling to COVID times to now Cornell Tech actually probably being a little too small for the conference, which is kind of a nice problem to have, right? Maybe annoying when you're in the overflow room and you wish you could all get in there to see Ora Lisilla talk, but on the other hand, it means that there's such a desire and popularity for ontologies and knowledge graphs that you can overfill a conference facility, which is fantastic. So I split up my thoughts on the conference into 3 pieces. The first one is my big picture takeaways from the conference. Then I'm going to talk about the highlights, including some of the talks that I think you should definitely watch if you've got the virtual ticket or if you can find a video of it later. And then I'll talk about some lowlights / worries that I have coming out of the conference. For the big picture takeaways, first and foremost, and this is maybe not especially surprising, although I'll admit I was a little bit surprised, was just how machine learning LLM-centric conversations were. Everybody was talking about this is how you can leverage LLMs, or this is how your semantic layer can be a bridge for LLMs and other agentic AI to take off and utilize this stuff. So it's not surprising insofar as, look, obviously, AI and LLMs are everywhere these days, and that's great. It's a super cool tool. There's lots of ways to use it. But also when you think about ontologies and knowledge graphs, we're part of good old-fashioned AI. We're sort of the other side of the AI brain. And in some ways, I expected it more to be just sort of grounded in the model itself as a solution for hallucinations maybe, but not so much trying to leverage or pitch the LLMs. Now, I don't quite know whether the explanation for this is that the people at the conference were themselves super excited about LLMs, which was certainly a part of it, or if the excitement was due to, we all come from various workplaces, right? Like I'm at Ford, others are at Amazon, others are at Microsoft or Moody's, and they know within those organizations, the kind of things that are going to sell is being able to say, not only are ontologies awesome, they're awesome because they will allow your LLMs to be better. They will allow your agentic AI to take off and dominate, right? So even if there's not the internal interest from the knowledge engineers to do the LLMs, we know practically that tying our products to LLM output can be extremely valuable. So up in the air, I don't know which of those 2 explains it. It's probably a little bit of both, but it was definitely striking how much conversations about LLMs really just dominated the week. Second, the theme was that the market is hot. Everybody talked about especially this quote from Gartner. Now, caveat here, I tried to go find the original quote from Gartner and I couldn't, but I found a couple other people who are citing that quote. So I'm just going to give the quote that they cited and referenced. If it turns out that that quote isn't real, I mean, at least people at the conference thought it was real. This was the thing that was up on the slides. So I'm a little reticent sometimes to share things where I can't find the primary source, but I think this still illustrates the vibe of the KGC. What they said was that Gartner describes this, which was Ontologies, the semantic layer, as critical infrastructure alongside data platforms and cybersecurity. Not a nice to have, not a best practice, critical infrastructure, on par with keeping the servers running and not getting hacked. So the idea is that not only are ontologies good and something that people know more about, but they're viewing it more as table stakes, right? You wouldn't have a business and not be interested in cybersecurity. You should also not have an enterprise and not be thinking about ontologies. This is something that is just at the core, the meat and the potatoes, which is awesome. It was also talked about Gartner calling this the year of context. And I think that's absolutely true. The word context was everywhere, and I'm not entirely sure what it meant in a lot of the cases. That's something that's maybe there'll be another video on coming up in the future. One of the talks I actually really enjoyed references this somewhat, so I'll mention that below in my highlights. And then the third big picture takeaway that I have is and this really builds off the second one, but now is the time, right? Go make stuff happen, go be successful, because you should strike while the iron is hot. This came originally, or Lucilla made some reference to Tim Berners-Lee's say that, now go do it. And that was the vibe. Lots of calls to action here about capitalizing on where the market is at. And so if you find yourself on this channel because you were thinking about getting into semantics, you were thinking about a career change, maybe academia into ontology, the vibe at the KGC was now is a good time to do that. Now, of course, we should always take these things with a little bit of a grain of salt, right? Every conference probably has a bias towards thinking that the subject matter of that conference is especially important and especially timely, but it felt pretty sincere from a lot of the people that I feel like they might have said otherwise, or at least not said it as boldly if they didn't actually believe it. So those are the big picture takeaways. My highlights, and I put 5 here. This is one of those things. It's always tough. I enjoyed so much about the conference. I enjoyed a lot of different talks. Don't be offended if you were there and you gave a talk and I didn't put you on this list. I wanted to keep this video not crazy long. So the first highlight of the conference, I think this is true for any conference you go to, it was meeting people. Easily the most important part. If I didn't get to see any talks, I still would have enjoyed my time in New York for this. All right, the first shout out, I got to meet some people who I would consider in this YouTube audience. There's not a ton of you out there, and so it's a small and intimate fan club, if I can call it that. So shout out, especially to the New York City Department of Mental Health and Hygiene. There was a contingent of them there who had looked over some of these videos and are interested in putting some knowledge graphs and semantic stuff in practice in a medical context, which I think is fantastic. It was awesome to meet them. I got to meet some close friends I haven't seen in a little while, like Alex Schifrin and Maru and Heather, and Keith was there, who I worked on as part of the Knowledge Graph Conference Learning Program. So awesome to see those people in person. There were also a number of the quote unquote stars out there, right? Getting to see Jim Hendler and Orla Silla, for instance, other people that you would recognized from the semantic space, like Ashley Faith was out there. Nice to get to meet those people and compare notes with them, and just sort of it's a chance to recharge your batteries and feel excited about the space when you see other people that are, in my estimation, really important to the field. And I also got to meet a bunch of brand new people that I wouldn't have met had it not been for this conference, and you sort of get an appreciation for how small the world is, and shared social networks and professional networks, stuff like that. So, hi, Alora, if you happen to be watching this video. Nice to meet you in New York. Okay, second highlight of the week. And this is the next ones. Let me just verify my list here. Yeah, these are all talks, right? So if I was advising you on which talks to watch in which order, this is probably the one I would give you. I left my talk off of this, although obviously that's talk number one you should watch. But then after that, number two, Orla Silla and Jim Hendler gave the Wednesday keynote talk. I'm calling it the et al. Talk. I don't know what it actually was, but they had a cute little shtick where they are part of the Scientific American paper with Tim Berners-Lee, and they always joke that the paper gets called Tim Berners-Lee et al., and so one of them had an et shirt and the other one had an al shirt. But they talked about whether the semantic web has lived up to the expectations that they had back when they set them 25 years ago in the writing of that paper. But when you hear the people who wrote the original paper say, this is the thing that we had in mind, we wanted, linked data, we wanted the semantic web to be the fodder, to be the food that agents could eat so that we would have agentic stuff going on. And then you connect that to how agents are being more and more important today. You say, okay, now I can see how these visions connect. And I'm going to take that pretty seriously because they've played such an integral role in shaping the vision of what this whole semantic space looks like. The next talk that I enjoyed, and probably the one that I'm citing the most to other people, was called Understanding 20th Century Science Patronage Through Knowledge Graphs. And this was by Barbara Shabinsky and Sanjaya Krishna. They were talking about a project they did with the Rockefeller Center. So Rockefeller Center issues grants and has issued grants for a long time. So they went back into, I think it was the 30s and 40s, and looked at letters that people who are grant writers or grant appliers had written, take that unstructured but semi-structured, these journal entries essentially were not just totally free text, but they had a structure to them about who was requesting money, what they were requesting the money for, what other people that they knew. And they're able to make a knowledge graph using label property graphs. I think they had a Neo4j set up, and do an analysis of what are the kinds of things that are going to be more likely to get you a grant. Is it going through this person? Is it having a certain number of connections? Is being male or female going to affect the way that your grants are dealt with? And it was just an awesome case of, we've got large quantities of data, we're processing them a little bit to get them into a graph, and then we're seeing what sort of insights we can find in them. I love a good practical case where there can be some discovery. You can even take those data sets now and download them yourself and load them up into Neo4j if you want, and explore them and see what sorts of insights you can find. Just an awesome place to see how graphs can change things, and you can also go get your hands dirty with the same data set. Super cool. Really enjoyed it. Enjoyed their presentation style. Next one, number 4, the RDF 1.2 status report. This was Orla Silla and Adrian Schwendt. This is RDF Star, has been sort of rebranded to RDF 1.2. And I'm going to talk about this a lot more in the future because there's some things I actually really don't like or don't get about what's going on with RDF 1.2. But I find the topic really interesting. And it was now clear to me what they were doing, what the new syntax is going to be, and they've made some real progress going forward on establishing what that's going to look like. So while I think I'm still going to stick with my old reification and talk about why I stick with reification in another video, the talk was great in sort of bringing up some really important topics for me. And then the number 5 on my highlights were the context layer, Knowledge Graph's second act. And this was by Prakalpa Sankar, and she is at a company called Atlan. And like I said earlier, context was really a theme of the week. So having a talk that just made it a lot more clear to me how organizations are thinking about context, how a company like Atlan is leveraging graphs or not leveraging graphs, and has a space that graphs need to come in and help fill, I thought was really informative. And a number of people after that talk were asking more about context. And so it sort of spurred conversations that I found really beneficial. All right, those are the highlights. Again, don't be offended if you were left off of those highlights. There were lots of good things there, and I don't want this video to be more than 20 minutes, so I should probably hurry up. So let's talk about some lowlights. This, I'm not going to be like, oh, this talk in particular was terrible. That's not it. I mean, there were some things I didn't like, but I'm not going to call them out on my channel. I want to talk about sort of like some themes of things, some tendencies that are bothering me a bit. The first was a general undervaluing of semantics, in my view. So on the flip side of talking about LLMs everywhere and how we can leverage ontologies as a bridge from our data to AI, I'm thinking about our ontologies fundamentally as models of the world of expressing the meanings of our data. And I can't tell you how many times people talked about semantics and I didn't feel like meaning was related or very important. And that feels like a fundamental mismatch from the way that I think about ontologies and graphs. So that's got me a little bit worried. There were also just a number of discussions where people provided definitions for things that I thought were really bad. And that has me concerned because like getting a clear definition that gets the semantics right is at the heart of what we do. So for instance, in one talk, somebody talked about persons and they're like, we all know what a person is. A person is a thing, that's got a head and two eyes. And then they sort of kept going on. And I was just like, no, that's not what a person is. And it's not essential about what a person is that they have eyes or a head, right? It's something about personhood or agency. When I say personhood, I mean like moral personhood. So like, where's the moral notion? Where's the agency notion? And that just wasn't there in the definition. And that's got me worried. So just a general hope or fear here that semantics is turning into the thing that lets us do AI instead of semantics staying grounded in it's being about meaning. Second thing that has me a little bit worried, a number of the talks, of course, in any conference like this, you're going to have a lot of vendors that are trying to sell particular products, and that's fine. Those things are going to be about tooling, and tooling is great. We need more and better tools in the ontology space. But I noticed a real lack of presentations where you got to see a working graph, a working model, a working ontology. A lot of it was more speculative. Here's how you can think about representing these sorts of things, or here's how you can think about doing these things, and less, here's a model that I built and how I'm using it, right? That's one reason why I put on my highlights that 20th century science patronage talk, because I loved that there was a graph there that was like functioning and generating insights. I want to see more projects that just have some substance to them, and that felt a little bit lacking at this conference. The third low light for me, when I leave the KGC, I think, okay, I kind of understand what the semantics and ontology space feels like, what people are caring about. But then the last couple of days, I've been reflecting more on how representative is that actually. So I now know what a lot of the people at a conference, which has a really academic feel, are thinking about or caring about. But is that representative of practitioners writ large? Probably not, right? A lot of the people who are everyday ontologists might be the sort of folks that never want to go to a conference, don't even know that such conferences exist, right? I didn't know that this conference existed 5 years ago, so I'm not surprised that a lot of other really good ontologists don't know about that. So I'm just a little bit worried, okay, how am I now skewed by this different sort of sample size? So those are my thoughts about the KGC 2026. Overall, fantastic experience. I'm super happy I went. Like I said, if only for the people, it would have been great. And then some really good talks on top of that, some really thought-provoking things. And I kind of feel recharged to make more content. And hopefully you'll get to see that in both the frequency and quality of stuff that's coming out in the coming weeks and months. But now is... To echo the big picture takeaway that now's the time, now's your time. So go find some content about the KGC if you're interested in that. Go take the next steps. And most importantly, like and subscribe to this channel so that you'll get to see the awesome content I'm making in the coming weeks. Thanks so much, everybody. I'll see you next time.